We're doomed. Doomed. He's taken by a deep hatred. He won't stop until he gets his revenge. Oh, the drowned, Cindy. The drowned.
That's fine, Jen.
We are talking Deep Hatred. This is a low-budget 2022 movie from Brazil, although spoken in English language. Now, this focuses on four friends as they go to this large kind of house, which is in somewhat of a rural area, and this house belonged to one of the characters' father. And he had some type of hippie commune there some time ago in the past. And when they go there, it just seems a little bit strange there that there are these strange kind of almost scarecrow type things, as they are kind of called within the movie, that are sort of dotted around the place. The neighbours seem somewhat jittery about them being there and kind of warn them about some type of vague danger. And we learn through the prologue that there may have been some sinister goings on that happened there. Now, these type of things seem to be rearing their head again, you might say, and threatens our quadruple of people. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So let us discuss what I think works with Deep Hatred. The first thing I would say is the intro to this movie, the prologue of if you will, that kind of features a scene that happened some years ago. I think it's very affecting. It's relatively kind of simple, but I think it sets the stage for an intriguing kind of story to follow. We see ultimately someone kind of getting bludgeoned to death in some what looks like a ritual kind of sacrifice type thing, and it's pretty affecting, I have to say. And as the movie goes on, you kind of think, oh God, these people are going to be in some type of trouble pretty early on, and they are. We do see some kind of ghostly effects and some type of strange things happening quite kind of early on. Now we have a kind of boogeyman antagonist within the film, and I have to say, I actually thought it was quite an interesting sort of look of this kind of like antagonist, shall we call it. The aesthetics of him were pretty cool, kind of roughly, it's similar. They call him the Drowned or something like that, and I have to say he kind of looks pretty cool, pretty kind of menacing, and he kind of pops up with reasonably a reasonable amount of regularity within the film itself. I don't think you'll be shortchanged with any type of lack of you don't really see anything or something like that. I think the movie is also pretty well shot. It kind of obviously being, I assume, shot in what I think, as I say, a Brazilian movie. It has a kind of a bright, sunny aesthetic in the kind of the daytime shoots, and looks pretty nice. It's a you can imagine this being some type of hippie commune, and obviously, I have to say the cinematography here is pretty good. And you do get the feel that this place is somewhat kind of out the way and isolated and far from any type of help. And because the cast is relatively small, I think we get to know them fairly well, and they are somewhat of stock characters, and we'll come on to it. But we do get a reasonable kind of idea about each of these individual sort of four characters, and they do seem somewhat kind of different from one another, so they're kind of easily identifiable. And there is a reasonable amount of as I say, practical effects, which I think was done to a pretty good standard. What doesn't work for me, I have to talk about the main thing here is the acting. Now, as I said, this was a movie, I think, primarily made in Brazil and with a lot of Brazilian people behind the, in front of and behind the kind of the camera. And as such, I feel some of the things don't translate particularly well. So the one that stands out for me the most is the acting. Now, this is not everyone, but the acting is a mixed bag. And there's one particular character that is so hammy, it's actually unbelievable. I mean, the only person I can compare this to is like Tommy Wiseau from The Room. I'm not kidding. There's a character here whose acting is so screechingly bad, and I'm not going to point out who that is, but I would hope that you would know who I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. It is terrible to the point where it's kind of funny. It is kind of funny, and it's so overcooked. But even that character aside, the rest of the cast, I think, is a mixed bag, and I think the dialogue that is kind of written for the characters seems a little unnatural at times. There's somewhat of a kind of a forced kind of drama situation where one character's in love with the other person's kind of partner, and it's just like typical kind of melodrama used to kind of pad out the kind of the running time and give that kind of like that B plot, that kind of extra kind of like salacious kind of you know, undercurrent that always seems to kind of be there in these kind of type of movies. And our characters, I have to say, do seem, although I would say that they seem quite distinct in their personalities, they don't seem particularly kind of layered, to be honest with you. Now, we do get quite a few kind of elements of what would be considered supernatural stuff kind of pop up through the movie, but I feel the movie's actual kind of narrative is a little kind of like drags its heels a little bit. I think it tries to want to have a little bit of a subvert your expectations, a little bit of a twist, but I don't know if it was handled particularly kind of well, if you want my honest opinion. Overall, this is kind of somewhat of a mediocre movie in a lot of ways. I don't think it really stands out in any particularly meaningful way, but the only thing I would say is the only thing that stands out to me the most about this film is this one actor's absolutely terrible acting, which knocks it slightly down from what I would consider an average film to a slightly below average film. So it's a 4 out of 10 for me. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.